The arena where President Trump will host tomorrow's rally, they're asking the campaign to provide some sort of written guidelines as to how they plan to inhibit or stop the spread of the coronavirus. They want it in writing. So Paula Reid's joining us now to talk a little bit more about this. We've kind of seen the campaign evolve, this event evolve a little. First, it was scheduled for today, Juneteenth. They moved it to tomorrow. Now we had heard that they are asking participants to sign a waiver. They'd be handing out masks, but now the actual venue wants it in writing. What are you doing? How's the campaign responding?
They say they're reviewing that request. They don't have a lot of time before this event happens, but they are now billing this event as the Great American Comeback following the pandemic. CBS News has learned that they really want it to be sort of a festival-like atmosphere. The president will address supporters in an indoor arena, in an outdoor setting. There will be musical acts, but all of this comes as the city of Tulsa is seeing a spike in the increase in the number of COVID cases, and health officials there are attributing that spike to large gatherings, specifically large indoor gatherings.
Paula, as Anne-Marie mentioned, this rally was originally scheduled for today, but the president moved it in the face of criticism over holding a political rally on Juneteenth. He also faced criticism over the decision to hold a rally in Tulsa, which, as you know, was the site of one of the worst race massacres in U.S. history. So how is President Trump marking Juneteenth today?
Well, the White House actually just released a statement on this. They said that, quote, on this day, they commit to living to their highest ideals and building always towards a freer, stronger country that values the dignity and boundless potential of all Americans. But in a Wall Street Journal interview this week, the president actually took credit for popularizing this day, saying, quote, "I did something good. I made Juneteenth famous." Now, while he said he claims that no one had ever heard of this, it's clear that this is just not true. While it appears to have only recently come into his awareness, it has been something with national recognition for quite some time.
Yesterday we got a DACA decision, or rather a Supreme Court decision on DACA, the Dreamers, saying that the Trump administration's desire to cancel the DACA was unconstitutional, right? They couldn't do it. The president was upset. He tweeted, of course, and he called for new justices. I'm wondering how that tweet is going over.
Well, this is actually pretty significant because we were watching his Twitter account to see if he attacked Chief Justice John Roberts, which he has in the past. But instead, he pivoted to something that he actually used in the 2016 campaign, which was convincing people that he was serious about the courts. While the president's economic legacy right now is in question, there have been a lot of difficult decisions that he's made, and people have not been happy with the decisions he's made. The one thing people cannot disagree with is the fact that he has delivered on his promise to stack the federal courts with conservative judges, hundreds of them. And when it comes to the Supreme Court, if you remember way back when Justice Scalia passed away, there was a presidential debate that night, and around that time, the president made it clear that he had a list of people, conservative judges, that he would appoint to the courts. And what was so significant about that is at the time, some folks they didn't think they could really take his candidacy seriously. But having this list of well-known conservative judges, there were people who suddenly started to look at him in a different way. They were willing to kind of hold their nose about some of his personal behaviors for the longer-term goal of stacking the American federal courts with conservative judges. And he knows if he can sort of pivot these several, too now, high-profile losses he has had at the court this week into a message to his supporters saying, hey, if you re-elect me, I'll stack this court with even more conservative judges and we'll start winning. That is actually a constructive campaign message and one that will resonate with his base.
It's an excellent point, Paula. Let me switch topics now. The White House is still dealing with the fallout from allegations in John Bolton's upcoming book, which will be published by Simon & Schuster, which is a division of Viacom CBS. Back in 2016, and the president has been very, very vocal about John Bolton. Back in 2016, as you recall, Paula, then candidate Trump was asked what kind of people he'd look for to fill key positions in his administration. And he said many times he would only hire the best people, the most competent people. Since then, he has shared some strong criticism of members of his administration who have left or who have disagreed with him. Attorney General Sessions, he was, quote, not mentally qualified to be Attorney General. Secretary of State Tillerson was dumb as a rock. Secretary of Defense James Mattis was the world's most overrated general. Bolton is a disgruntled, boring fool who only wanted to go to war. You asked him about this, Paula, yesterday. I want to play that for our viewers.
Why do you keep hiring people that you believe are wackos and liars?
Paula, the president didn't respond to you. Yeah, I'm wondering if you've heard anything subsequent to that moment.
Well, what's so interesting is, look, if you look at all the statements the president has made, he has a track record of saying things that are just not true. But this statement, that I only hire the best people, of all the things, if you look at this president's legacy, that is the statement that really deserves the most scrutiny. And when people have questions about how things happen here and why certain decisions are made, that's where you really have to look. And his former chief of staff this morning, Mick Mulvaney, actually said he believes that the president, quote, does not hire well, that he does not know how to build a team. It appears that this has been a weak spot for the president. He doesn't either hire the right people for him or the right people for the job. We know he also hires a lot of people in his family, far more so than previous presidents. And when you look at the people he has surrounded himself with, often they have been people who have helped him make some of these decisions. Just example for like DACA. The Supreme Court said, you can do this. You just didn't do it the right way. So who are the lawyers, right, that were handling this that didn't do it the right way? And I think it's really just one of the biggest questions of the Trump administration. Who are you hiring, and why do you keep hiring people who you then say are liars or sick puppies or incompetent? It's one of the biggest questions for the president.
A very good question indeed. Paula Reid, as always. Paula, we thank you very much. Have a nice